Hi everyone, welcome to another video. So in this reading vlog, I've seen a lot of people on BookTube do this like little challenge thing. I thought I would do it as well because I thought it'd be interesting. And I'm basically going to be going through my physical TBR on my Goodreads. I have like a bookshelf on my Goodreads, which I have all the books that I need to read that I actually own. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to filter it between, not filter it, but like put it in order of highest to lowest rating on my Goodreads. And I'm going to read this month the highest and lowest rated book on my TBR, so this will be interesting. And then I'm going to let you know if I agree with those ratings and why. So I think this would be an interesting thing to do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get out my Goodreads, and then I've got my shelf, which is my physical TBR on my Goodreads, and I'm just going to, I think you can, yeah, sort by date added is at the moment. So I'm going to sort by average rating. Oh, I'm scared. This is going to be the moment of truth. And I'm not going to include any books which are part of a series. So say like, well, if it's the first book of the series, that's fine. But if say for example it's like the third book in a series, I'm not gonna, if I haven't read the first two books, I'm not gonna read all of them just to get to that one. So any that's part of like a series that I haven't started yet, I'm not going to read for this video, so I'll skip those. But yeah, I'm just scrolling to the bottom to see what the lowest rated book is. Okay, let me go grab this book off my bookshelf so that I can show it to you. So the lowest book on my TBR, which I'll be reading this month, is Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey, and this is the first book in the Vine Mess series. I think there's 2 books in this series. I don't know if there's going to be any more, but there's 2 at the moment. I only own the first one, so this one is the lowest rated out of the books that I own, and this one is a rating of 3.3, so that's a pretty low rating. I haven't really heard great things about this, to be honest. I bought this from the works before I'd seen anyone's reviews on it, just because it's Tessa Bailey. I've read books for her before that I've enjoyed, so why not? But since then I've seen a lot of people on YouTube saying that they didn't really like it, and a few people had DNF'd this book as well, so not the best. But especially as I've been a little bit in a reading slump, probably not the best. But it is a romance, so either way it should be pretty easy to get through, and you never know, it might surprise me. I might fully enjoy this book. So yeah, that is the first book that I will be reading. I think in this vlog I'm going to start by reading the lowest rated book and then move on to the highest rated book. I don't want to go from a really high rated book to a low rated book, because then it's just really like, ugh, great. But if you start from a low rated book and then you read a high rated book, you've got something to look forward to if this one isn't great. And then I'm gonna have a look now and see which is the highest rated book. I'm just gonna pick them out now and then I can read them in this vlog. So I'm just gonna scroll all the way back to the top. I'm not looking. Right. So the highest rated book, I'm covering it up so I can't see, is Magnolia Park's Into the Dark, but that is the 5th book in a series, so I won't be counting that one. And then the next highest rated book is Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, which is the 4th book in that same series, which I haven't started yet, so there's no way I'll be doing that. And then Obsidio and Gemina, which are part of the Illuminae files, but they are the 2nd and 3rd books, so obviously I haven't read the first book, so I can't read those. And the next one is Things We Left Behind by Lucy Score. That's the 3rd book in a series. Again, haven't read the rest of the series, so can't read that one. Right, I'm just going to scroll until I find the first one that's not like a continuation in a series. Okay, interesting. So, the highest rated book on my TBR is this. And the actual proper version is A Man Called Ove, I think it's called. But this is one that's like the movie cover, because it was made into a movie which they renamed A Man Called Otto. So this is the like renamed version. But originally it was called A Man Called Ove. And I don't know if in this book they've actually changed it to Otto or Ove. I'm not too sure. I'll have to find out if they've changed it in the book or whether it's just the cover. But they have made a movie of it now, which I haven't watched, but I want to read the book first. And it's got Tom Hanks in the movie. You've probably heard of this before because it's a popular book. And this had an average rating of 4.38, which is a very good rating. And yeah, I've never read anything by Frederick Backman before, so it'd be interesting to read something by him. And I've heard nothing but good things about this, to be perfectly honest. I can imagine it's going to be quite sad. I don't know exactly what it's about, but it's about like some grumpy old man. So that looks like they're the 2 books that I'm going to be reading for this video. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to start with the lowest rated book. So when I start this book in April this month, I will start vlogging and let you know my thoughts, and I can let you know if I agree with the ratings on Goodreads with these and let you know my opinions. did actually film a lot of clips explaining like my thoughts throughout reading this book, but for some reason my camera wasn't working properly, and it turns out my mic on my camera, my external microphone, is broken. All the clips I'd filmed for this bit are completely gone, so I do apologise for that, but in a second I will give you my final thoughts because I had to refilm at least that clip, so yeah, here we go. So, as you've probably seen in the last clip that I just put on, there was no sound in any of the clips I had filmed whilst I was reading Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. I had filmed clips of my progress through as I was reading it and my thoughts on it, and all of those clips had no sound, and same with another vlog that I had filmed, there was no sound. Turns out my microphone on my camera has broken, so I ordered another one, and now I've got the new one on my camera, so it is now working. So I can give you my like overall review of this book, because obviously I couldn't give you the updates, but I know in one of the updates that I've filmed I was probably about 100 pages in, and I remember thinking I didn't particularly like it, and I almost was going to DNF it because I feel like the main female character was very, very immature. And I thought she was maybe like early 20s or something. But she's 29 years old. I can't remember if I gave you like an overview of what this book was about. It's basically about this girl called Hallie, and she like almost kissed this guy back in the day, and since then she's had this huge crush on him. No guy's ever lived up to him, and blah blah blah. And somehow she gets back in contact with him. She goes and she does like gardening, and not gardening, but like she does plants flowers and stuff. She's kind of like a florist. She goes around to his place and was planting flowers and stuff in his garden, and like and obviously gets back in contact with him, and she starts writing him these secret letters, which is why it's called Secretly Yours, because he doesn't know who's writing them and stuff. But also there's this winery that she wants to get closed down because it's like taking over the business of this other winery that her grandmother worked at and owned. Her grandmother's no longer alive, but she wants to keep their winery going. But there's this new winery in town, and she's trying to get them closed down and stuff, so she like prank calls them and like sabotages their stuff and like vandalizes their things and stuff like that, and like she prank calls them and stuff, which is just, what age would you prank call people? That's the kind of thing I would have done when I was like 13, 14, maybe even younger than that. Maybe I was probably like 12 when I was doing things like that. But anyway, her and this guy, I think he was called Julian. Yeah, her and this guy Julian, they both, well, she gets him to prank call this, the winery she wants to get shut down. And yeah, just immature. But it turns out Hallie is actually 29 years old, so she's nearly 30 and she's prank calling a business. Like, I just thought that was a bit weird. So anyway, I wasn't really enjoying the main female character, so I almost did DNF it, but I ended up listening to some of it by audio and some of it physically, and I ended up getting through the whole entire thing. And I think I ended up rating it 2.5 stars. I can't remember, let me check. Okay, I ended up giving it 2.75 stars, and I did write some notes on my phone of some of my thoughts as I was reading it, and I've kind of forgot now what I wanted to say, so I'm just gonna check the notes on my phone. So when I was listening to the audiobook, one of Hallie, the main character, her best friend is called Lavinia, and she's actually British, and the audiobook narrator is obviously American. Obviously the audiobook narrator has an American accent, and she's doing the British accent for this character, and she makes it sound like so posh and stereotypically British, like really posh, and not really what half of us sound like. So I thought that was quite amusing, but it's obviously not really her fault, so it's not her natural accent. But I just want to say that I did enjoy in this book the main male character Julian. He does suffer with anxiety and stuff, so there was kind of good mental health rep in this book, because it's not very often that you get the male character who suffers with mental health. It's normally just talked about that women have these problems and stuff, but yeah, it was quite nice to read about a guy for a change. But yeah, that was okay. I'm not sure if I would continue this series. I potentially might listen to the audiobook of the next one, but I'm not really too bothered. It wasn't very enjoyable, it wasn't my favourite. I don't really think Tessa Bailey is an author for me. Obviously it got some spice in them as well, and I feel like the relationship between the two main characters, I feel like it was mostly physical. I didn't really get much chemistry between them, like romantically. So yeah, not a huge fan. 2.75 stars, so yeah, I can understand why this doesn't have a very high rating on Goodreads. And also since then, I did film one clip of this as well, but there was also no sound in that one, so that's fun. I have read up to page 85, so I've read quite a few chapters now. It's only a short book, so I'm maybe about just over a quarter of the way through. I don't really know what I'm feeling about this so far. It's not gripping me. This book's about a grumpy old man and he doesn't want to be alive really. I don't know, he just hates everyone and everything pretty much. And each chapter, they're like short chapters, each one is kind of like a little story of his life, so it's sort of leading you through his life, what's happened in his life and some major things that have happened. So I don't know, I feel like I'm not too sure on the fact that each chapter is a little mini story, because I feel like it's not, obviously it is a cohesive story, it is a story in itself, but it's just each little chapter seems like a little mini story of his life, if that makes sense. But I'm not really sure if I like that. I don't know, loads of people absolutely adore this book and say that it's like makes them cry and stuff and it's just really emotional, so we will see. I might get more attached to this main guy, I don't know. So yeah, I feel like I've talked to the camera for ages in this update, just because obviously all the other clips that I'd filmed weren't a thing anymore. They just didn't have any sound, so I can't use those. So anyway, I will give you an update in a while. So because I'm just working from home at the minute, doing some like painting and stuff, I thought, well, I could be using this time maybe to listen to the audiobook of A Man Called Uva so that I could get through it. And by the way, it's pronounced Uva, I think. According to the audiobook, it's pronounced Uva. But anyway, so I thought I'd look on like my Spotify. I'm out of Spotify hours until the end of the month. I tried finding like a free one online or something. There was nothing. And then I had a thing come up for Audible, which is 3 months of Audible for 99p. So I thought, okay, I'll sign up for that and use my first like credit towards this book so I can listen to it by audio. And it charged me the full $7.99. So now I've paid for 1 month of Amazon Audible subscription, which is $7.99, and I didn't mean to. It's because I think I've done an Audible like free trial before ages ago, but they didn't tell me they were going to charge me the full amount until after I'd press accept. So it charged me the full amount, so that's very annoying. So I don't have the 3 months for 99p. That was my little ramble. So I've started listening to the audiobook of this. I've only listened to like about 3 chapters via audio so far. And the audiobook seems good enough, so yeah, I'm going to continue with audio for a little bit while I'm doing some work. It just helps me get through books a little bit quicker sometimes. And in this book there's some little kids. There's a 7-year-old and a 3-year-old, and when the narrator does a voice for the kids, some of the voices that she does sometimes sounds like, it reminds me, I don't know if you've ever seen on YouTube, but it was this really weird creepy series thing on YouTube called Salad Fingers. I'll put a little picture here in case you recognise it, but the voice sounds like that. It's a little bit weird, a bit off-putting, does not sound like a child, but anyway, other than that, I'm enjoying this, so yeah, I'll continue and give you an update later. I've been listening to more of the audiobook of A Man Called Uva, and it's sad. It's just making me feel really like sad and weird inside. I don't really like how it's making me feel, just because it's quite like, well yeah, a bit depressing, but it's just like, I don't know, it's making me think about life and then like dying and losing people you love and things that you go through in life and have to just get through, and it's just making me feel sad. I don't know, it's like I'm not really in the best headspace at the moment, and I feel like it's not really the best book to probably be reading, but anyway, I've only got about that much left, so hopefully I should finish this within the next day or two so that I can get this video up, but yeah, just making me feel a bit sad. It's now the next day, and yes, I think I'm wearing the same jumper, don't judge me. I have now finished A Man Called Uva. I feel like this book was quite depressing for me. Like, this book mentions a lot about death, cancer, getting old, people dying, things like that. I can understand why people really like this, because it is very heartwarming and yeah, it is very sweet, but I just feel like it's not my sort of taste of books. I like sad books in the sense of like a love story kind of thing, you know, when a love story's sad, that sort of thing. I like that, or in fantasy books when people die and stuff, I don't mind that. But it's just like real life things that are bad like that, just kind of, not really my thing to read about, because it just makes me feel really horrible inside and really sad, and like, yeah, it just makes me feel horrible. So I'm not a huge fan of books like that, but it was very, very sweet, and I would recommend it if you don't mind that sort of thing, if that sort of thing's not like triggering to your mental health or anything, whereas for me it kind of is. So I did enjoy it in the sense of it was a sweet story and it was written well as well. I like the way it was written, but yeah, just the themes that were in this book weren't my favourite to read about. They just make me feel a bit sad. So I would probably give this a 3 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I'd probably give this about a 3 out of 5 stars. So I don't agree with the Goodreads rating, but that's just my personal taste. I can understand why some people absolutely adore this book, but for me, that's just not my taste. So hence why I'm giving it 3 stars. So in this video, I did read Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. I gave it 2.75 stars. This was supposed to be the lowest rated book on my physical TBR, and yeah, not a huge fan of this, wasn't the best. And then A Man Called Uva, which I can understand why it would be the highest rated book, but it's just not my taste. So yeah, it's just like a personal preference thing. I'm sorry this vlog was kind of a little bit short, because all the updates that I'd filmed for the first book, which there were a lot of updates for, they all had to get scrapped. So I do apologise for that, but I hope you enjoyed the video nonetheless. Please subscribe if you're not already and you would like to see more videos from me, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye for now.